How's it going, everyone? Reign of Iron here with another review, and this time we're going to be talking about a game that I'm really excited about, that I'm really happy to come and talk to you about, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, before we get into it, I will let you know that I will be going into some detail about the game's story and other gameplay parts. So, spoiler warning right here. If you haven't played the game or haven't really don't want to see anything about it, then don't watch because this is an experience, not just a game. It's fantastic. Go out and buy this game. Ubisoft or Ubisoft, whatever you want to call them. I've heard both names on the internet. I'm going to go with Ubisoft for this review, though. They have outdone themselves with this game. It is an Assassin's Creed game, but it is by far the best Assassin's Creed game that they've ever made. It is fantastic. And I'm excited to get into this review, and I'm excited to start talking about it. So let's do this. Let's get into this review. So I would not be doing my job if I didn't tell you that there are microtransactions in this game. Mostly purely cosmetic with the exception of the experience boosts, but I've played this game for a very long time. I've logged at least 20 to 30 hours if not more, and I can tell you that it's inconsequential. You don't need to use the microtransactions. And yes, I know people have been making a big deal that they're even in the game, and I myself can't give a game with microtransactions in it a perfect score 10 out of 10. But with that being said, these microtransactions are easy to overlook. You don't need them. They're mostly just cosmetic. And most of the stuff that you can buy in microtransactions, you can also earn in-game, with the exception of the experience boosts. Now, as good as a game as this is, it's not without its faults. And unfortunately, one of the bigger ones that I've noticed while playing this game is that it's a very grindy game. You have to grind quite a bit once you get into the later stages of this game's story. And if you're one of those people who doesn't really like to grind and you just kind of want to jump into the story and get it done as quickly as possible, you might not like this game that much because it's almost as if the game is set up so that you have to do a lot of side stuff, a lot of side missions and quests, and explore the world in order to level up. And, I don't mind that. I personally enjoy grinding and looking around for things. I love enjoying to explore the world of games. And this game's got a lot to do. But for people who just want to skip all the side stuff and jump into the main story missions, you might find yourself a little disappointed because a lot of the late game story missions are locked behind pretty high levels, and you'll find as you progress through the game that you're going to be getting your ass kicked a lot, even by things the same level as you. So the progression in this game is difficult, and I actually like that. I like how competitive it makes you feel. And when you finally get to the point where you can do some of these missions, it makes you feel like a badass. It really does. But there's not a lot bad to talk about this game outside of the grind. A lot of the good that comes with this game is also, the fact that it's got very little bad. Outside of microtransactions and grinding, there's a few bugs, a few glitches that I've noticed, and a bit of frame rate drop during a few cutscenes, but all that can be rectified with a patch, which I'm sure they're working on. So, now that we've talked about all the bad in this game, we can get on to the good and what makes this game really fun. One of the best Assassin's Creed games, if not, one of the best open world games that I've played in a while. Ships are back, and marine combat is also back with it, and it's honestly better than ever. Um, I love ship-to-ship combat. It's one of the things that I've liked about Assassin's Creed 3. It was one of the only things I liked about Assassin's Creed 4. And in this game, it's so much fun to just ram people and just shoot them with arrows and set their ships on fire. And then when you kick the crap out of their boat, you can board them and it heals your ship, because magic, right? But no, the ship-to-ship combat in this game is actually really fun. And I don't know what else to say about it except for that. It's honestly just because of the ship-to-ship combat is automatically giving this game 6 out of 10. That's all I can really say. It's a selling point to this game is the marine combat, honestly, and I I love it. I really do. Another huge selling point for this game is the amount of content. This map is huge and it's filled with things to do. It really is. I love just running around and searching for different animals to kill and hunt, and there's just so much to do. You can take over bases, you can start wars, you can go out to sea and start random ship fights if you want. And you can even get yourself a bounty and have bounty hunters come after you. Um, there's so much to do in this game. And the first thing I really want to get into is the bounty hunter system. It's probably the funnest thing in this game. I just love it when people are coming after you and you kick their ass, or you run into one of them randomly and you're like, oh, I need to kill this guy in order to raise my mercenary stock. So you start a fight with him and you kill him. It leads to some of the best confrontations that I've actually had in the game. So how is the combat in this game? Well, actually the combat's quite fun. I found myself enjoying the combat quite a bit. My favorite thing to do in the combat is just go toe to toe, swords and shield. Well, I usually take their shield away, but I do like assassination. Being sneaky really does help in this game, especially when you're trying to take on really high leveled people. Especially because in this game, people are some serious damage sponges. And you'll find that that's one little problem about the combat in this game, is everything seemingly is 10 times stronger than you are. You're supposed to be the main character, this almighty demigod whatever, and it takes you 500 combos to kill one leader of a base. But the combat is fun. Stringing together combos and getting your power hits together with your not power hits, getting your specials down, mixing in some other abilities. It's actually really fun sometimes to mix and match your skill sets in order to see which one benefits you the most when it comes to combat. So let's talk about the story. I'm actually really excited to talk about this because this is actually a really good story. I actually love Greek history. I love Greek mythology. So going into that, I was actually kind of biased. But I'm going to be honest with you. It's a really good story. I mean, there's a lot of grind that you have to do to get to the good story. But once you get there and actually get to play it, you get your money's worth in the story alone and the content in this game alone. This game is worth $60. And the story is phenomenal. I loved the story. I loved playing through this and seeing this character's growth as he goes from a no-name mythos or a mercenary to a very high-ranking member of society as a mercenary, or even fighting in wars as a Spartan or an Athenian, and doing all these other different things, taking care of this group known as the cults, the cult of Cosmos, the cultists. And you also have to fight bounty hunters everywhere you go, everywhere you turn. Everybody basically wants you dead, and yet you're still trying to piece your family together in this beautifully crafted story that actually has really good multiple choices. And I applaud Ubisoft for adding multiple choices. It's innovative in my opinion, and brings a whole new light to the Assassin's Creed franchise. It makes me want to play the next Assassin's Creed to see if it still has multiple choices. The choices in this game actually reflect upon your character's choice. Cities will become burned down. The plague will overtake certain places. People will die. That you didn't expect to die because of your choice. It's really well crafted as a story goes, and the multiple choices, it gives replayability, which is a very important factor when you're giving a rating to a game.
For when our wars are done, after lives are lost and blood has run, We must rejoin our broken daughters and our sons. Reunited together, we will be one.
Enough, enough! You're a great singer.
The best! You should act in my plays.
So leveling up your character, getting new skills and weapons and armor, how is that? Well, weapons and armor is a bit tedious at times, only because once you get legendary gear, once you get things that you actually like and you enjoy using, you can just upgrade them and you don't need to get new weapons and armor anymore, and it makes everything else become expendable. You can break them down or sell them, but you can't break down legendary. And the weapons and armor comes in 4 different tiers. You got your common, your rare, or your uncommon. You got your epic and your legendary. Everything from epic down can be broken down and sold, and you can sell your legendary as well. But you can't break down legendary items, or they actually add up over time. I actually found myself with a lot of legendary gear, and I can't break it down, so I end up selling it. But it does become tedious micromanaging it sometimes. But leveling up has actually been fun. I love leveling up. I love getting different skill trees going and stuff like that, learning what I like. It usually gives you one skill tree to start off for both archery and warrior. Your assassin stuff goes on your warrior tree. And eventually I think you can get 2 for both. I got 2 for warrior. I don't know if you can get 2 for hunter, but I'm pretty sure you can. But leveling up and gear, the gear is tedious. Leveling up is fun. Another good name for this game could easily be climbing or sailing simulator, because that's pretty much what this game is. You're going to be climbing and sailing a lot. But I enjoy sailing, climbing not so much. Greece has a lot of mountains, and I get that, but you're going to find yourself rock climbing a lot in this game. I've played past Assassin's Creed games, so I was prepared for that, but it really does feel like this game is a bona fide climbing simulator at times. It doesn't take anything away from the overall game experience. It's just I found myself climbing a lot more than necessary, I guess. But it's still a fun game. I still enjoyed it. I still, I climbed everywhere all the time. So it's my own fault for climbing so much. But it is definitely, you could call it a climbing simulator. A few final notes before I give my final review verdict. One thing I will say is going into wars is probably the best way to get good experience. You can fight on either the Athens side or the Spartan side, and either which one you do, if you do well enough, you'll get like between 10,000 to 25,000, sometimes even more than that in experience, and it helps with the leveling up process. But I stand by what I said originally. Go out and buy this game. This is a $60 game bundled up in a nice little bow for you that has plenty of content and will keep you busy for a very long time. Now, it is a very grindy game to get through the story early on. You'll have to be doing a lot of side missions. Or you could pay Ubisoft for a quick get up and go to go do it. I don't recommend that. This game is an experience. You need to experience it. It is a fantastic play. But you have to be willing to put in the time. Now, my final verdict on this game is a 7 out of 10. A strong 7 out of 10. I can't give it an 8, only because of the little miscues that happen in the game, as in, it starts to get too grindy, starts to get a little boring towards the end, because you're basically doing everything and anything, and it kind of drives you away from the game a little bit. But it is a solid 7 out of 10, and a must-buy for any Greek history fan, Greek mythology fan. The game has so much content, it is worth your $60. Go out and buy it. Play it. It's worth at least one playthrough. The story alone sells this game. Reign of Iron out.